Millionaire's girlfriend exposes the hidden truth. This homeless boy's amazing connection will change everything. Jake darted through the streets, his heart racing like the yellow taxis that zipped by. The smell of pretzels wafted through the air, a tempting scent he detasted too few times. At 12, he had carved a life for himself on these bustling sidewalks, where skyscrapers towered overhead like giants. Resilient and streetwise, Jake was a survivor, taught by his single mother that dreams could be chased. She had instilled in him the spirit of self-reliance before illness snuffed out her light. Every day, he rummaged through the colorful chaos around him, searching for something more than scraps for his stomach. He hunted for discarded books, prized treasures left behind like breadcrumbs leading to grand adventures. Each cracked spine was a portal to new worlds, pirates, wizards, heroes making him believe in something beyond survival. Each page felt like a lifeline, wrapping around him in stories of hope. Meanwhile, on the 30th floor of her plush penthouse, Tara adjusted her diamond-studded bracelet, sipping champagne amidst conversations about the latest tech trends. Her boyfriend's world was glittering but hollow, full of empty celebrations and trivial pursuits. Despite the luxury surrounding her, an ache whispered inside. The walls felt taller, isolating her like a gilded cage, as she smiled along to conversations that felt meaningless. Everything changed when Tara stumbled upon Jake during a community outreach event. Standing in the midst of ordinary people, she saw him. His eyes sparkled with a fire that lit up the dull gray of her world. He shared a simple yet profound truth: happiness wasn't born from wealth, but from the warmth of connections. As he spoke about sharing food with others on the streets, a tightness gripped her chest. Here was a boy who had faced down the darkness and emerged glowing with light. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days turned into weeks, and their unlikely friendship began to flourish. Jake introduced Tara to life on the streets: people, struggles, dreams unfulfilled yet radiating potential. With every conversation, Tara's eyes widened as she witnessed the silent battles waged daily. But the more she engaged, the more she felt seismic shifts in her heart. A torrent of compassion against her boyfriend's indifferent views on poverty. Then came the incident that threatened everything. With the city's shadows growing darker, Jake found himself in peril during a confrontation fueled by desperation. Tara's breath hitched as she realized she was torn. Did she cling to her luxurious lifestyle, or fight fiercely for Jake, the boy who opened her eyes and inspired her to believe in a valid cause? As she wrestled with these choices, Tara's heart pulsed with urgency. Walls crumbled, priorities shifted, and clarity pierced through the chaos within her. Tara learned that wealth wasn't in her bank account, but in forged ties of community. A pivotal moment loomed. Would she step into the unknown, even if the cost was high? The stakes had never felt higher, leading to the precipice of an important decision. An instant of realization battered her. Is this the life I want, or is there more? The weight of the world hung in the balance, urging her to find the answer. Would she leap into the uncertain waters to rescue the boy, who showed her a different kind of richness? Tara's mind raced as she stood in the dim light of her penthouse, the lavish decor almost suffocating her. The laughter and chatter from the party drifted in from the living room, a world so far removed from the gritty sidewalks where Jake fought daily for survival. She glanced out the window, taking in the view of the city below, where thousands of lives were intertwined in struggles she had just begun to understand. Her phone buzzed on the marble countertop, a message from her boyfriend flashing across the screen. Where are you? Everyone's waiting. The familiar pull of loyalty battled against the urgent call of her heart. Jake was out there, his life hanging by a thread, while she was cocooned in luxury and comfort. A wave of nausea rolled through her. The glittering party felt like a prison. Suddenly, a decision gripped her. She slipped on her jacket, the weight of the fabric heavy with consequence. I need air, she called out. barely allowing herself time to breathe before pushing through the gathering. Each step away from the laughter felt like stepping farther away from who she had been. The door clicked shut behind her, and for a moment she was enveloped in silence, a stark contrast to the chaos inside. Tara's heels clicked against the pavement as she hurried back to the streets, where she had shared laughter and pain with a boy who had nothing yet showed her everything. Distant sirens echoed in the night, the familiar soundtrack of urban life. Each sound reminded her of Jake and his world, raw, unfiltered. When she finally reached the alley where they often met, Tara's heart raced. She called out his name, her voice trembling in the cool air. Seconds felt like hours as she scanned the dark corners, desperate for a glimpse of his bright spirit. Her throat tightened with worry. Was he all right? Had she come too late? Finally, from the shadows, she caught sight of him. He sat on a battered crate, his head down, fingers flicking through a worn book. Relief washed over her like a tide, but it was short-lived. The moment Jake looked up, she saw something in his eyes, pain mixed with confusion. "Tara," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "What are you doing here?" The words tangled in her throat. How could she explain everything swirling inside her? Instead, she took a deep breath. "I came to see you, really see you." Jake shifted uncomfortably, his gaze darting away. "You don't have to do that. Me fine. You should go back." "No." Her heart raced. "I want to help you. I want to be part of your world, not just for a day, but for as long as it takes." Silence hung in the air between them, thick and heavy. Tara reached out, her hand brushing against his. "What happened back there at the event, it made me realize something crucial. I don't want to go back to pretending everything's okay, while others suffer. I can't sit idly by. I want to fight for you, for us." A flicker of recognition sparked in Jake's eyes, but uncertainty shadowed it. "This is my life, Tara. It's messy and dangerous. Are you sure you want this?" The gravity of his words settled in her chest, but she nodded fiercely. "If it means being with you, then yes. I'll learn, I'll help. I'll face whatever comes our way." His eyes softened, and Tara could see the walls he had built slowly beginning to crack. Just then, a loud shout pierced the air from deeper in the alley. They both turned and saw a group of unruly teenagers cornering a man. Tara's heart plummeted at the sight. "Jake, they're going to hurt him," she gasped, her instincts kicking in. Without thinking, Jake jumped to his feet, igniting the fight she feared had gone out of him. "We can't let that happen," he shouted, determination fueling his words. Tara followed him, adrenaline racing through her veins. They were about to step into a chaos far beyond their own together. Would this moment spark something that would bind them forever? Or was there a cost too great to pay? In a split second, they were catapulted into the fray. Tara felt the adrenaline pumping through her, igniting a sense of purpose she had never known before. The sounds of shouting and laughter from the party felt like a distant memory now. This was real. This was urgent. Jake sprinted forward, his body tense with determination. Tara stood momentarily frozen, wrestling with the fear tightening in her chest. The sight of the teenagers, their faces twisted with malice, shattered her heart. They were laughing as they pushed the man against the cold brick wall of the alley, throwing insults like stones. "Jake," she called, her voice harsh and panicked, breaking the tension. "Wait." He turned, a fierce light in his eyes. "We can't just stand here and watch." "I know. But there has to be a way to make them listen. We can't just rush in." The words tumbled from her mouth as she fought for clarity. But deep down, she could feel that rush of fear mingling with the undeniable urge to act. Jake nodded, his brow furrowing. "Okay, then what do we do?" Tara glanced around, her mind racing. She spotted a trash can nearby, overflowing with garbage. An idea sparked. "We do something unexpected. Distract them." Without hesitation, she grabbed a handful of cans and bottles from the trash, hefting them with both arms. "On three, we throw these." Jake's eyes widened, but he seemed to understand. "All right. 1, 2, 3. They hurled the debris into the mix, the clatter of metal against concrete drawing the attention of the teens. They shouted in confusion, turning their heads. This was their moment. Tara felt heat rising in her chest as she sprinted forward, Jake right at her side. "Hey, leave him alone," she shouted, her voice stronger than she felt. It cut through the chaos like a beacon, pulling each set of eyes until they fixated on her. The teenagers hesitated, uncertainty flickering across their features. For a brief moment, Tara felt empowered, standing there shouting with clarity and purpose. One of the teens, a sturdy boy with a ragged cap, sneered and took a step closer. "And what are you going to do about it, princess?" Jake stepped beside her, face taut. "We're not going anywhere until you let him go." Tension crackled in the air. Tara felt the instincts of battle surge within her, a fire igniting against the injustice before her. "You think bullying a defenseless man makes you cool? How pathetic." Her words hung in the air, piquing just enough curiosity. The man squirming against the wall, a look of surprise silhouetted against his fearful eyes, finally saw Tara and Jake. Recognition crossed his face, and for a brief moment, hope flickered in the shadows. The group of teenagers exchanged uncertain glances, thrown off by Tara's unexpected courage. The rhythm of the alley shifted, a moment of vulnerability sparking curiosity in these faces she had once deemed intimidating. Suddenly, with surprising speed, one of the girls in the group shouted, "What's your deal, anyway? You think you'll save him?" "Yes," Tara shouted back before she could reconsider, her heart pounding rapidly. "Because every life matters. We can choose to be better, to stand up against what's wrong instead of feeding into the darkness." Bestial laughter erupted, but Tara didn't falter. This was her truth. She felt Jake's presence beside her, an anchor in the storm of chaos. Her voice shook slightly, but she pressed on. "You may think this is about power, but real strength is taking a stand for someone who can't protect themselves. That is true courage." The girl rolled her eyes, but looked momentarily conflicted. The others, trading glances, whispered while the man behind Tara began inching away, emboldened by their interference. The teens hesitated, uncertainty creeping into their bravado. And for the first time, Jake stepped up further. "When you leave this alley tonight, ask yourself who you really want to be. This isn't who you are, is it?" Tara's heart thudded painfully in her chest. It was a gamble, but perhaps, just maybe, they were touching on something deeper, the shared humanity that connected them all. Before anyone could react, a flicker of indecision washed over their faces. Tara's breath hitched. Would their words ripple out into something more? Or would they fall flat against the cool wall of defiance? Feeling the weight of the moment, she realized that they stood on the precipice of transforming not just this night, but everything. But would they choose to shift, or was there a darker force that would reel them back out of reach? Tara held her breath, bracing for whatever would come next. The moment stretched, hanging in the air like a cloud ready to burst. A heavy silence enveloped the alley as everyone digested Jake's words. Tara's heart raced. She could see the shift happening, the uncertainty flickering in the eyes of the teens. "Just let him go," one of the girls muttered, her defiance cracking. "It's not worth getting in trouble." The sturdy boy with the cap scoffed, his bravado wavering under the weight of the moment. "Who cares?" "Yes, nobody," he said, but the heat behind his words felt less powerful now, like a candle flickering in a draft. Jake took a step closer, voice steady and unwavering. "Every single person has value, regardless of who they are. We can either lift each other up or keep dragging ourselves down." Tara echoed, "You don't have to be like this. You can choose to be different." The man resting against the wall lifted his head a fraction higher. It was a small gesture, but it made Tara's heart swell. Maybe, just maybe, their intervention meant something. She locked eyes with him, providing the reassurance he needed to know that he was not alone. One of the boys in the group, usually so sure of himself, shuffled back a step, his expression shifting from hostility to confusion. "But what are you trying to prove? You really think we'll just change?" A silence settled in as the others mulled over his words. It felt like a fragile moment, balance teetering between hope and despair. Tara seized it. "No one is asking you to change overnight. Just think about it. You have the power to make a difference, even in small ways. We all do." The cap-wearing boy scowled, opening his mouth to retort, but hesitated as Tara's plea washed over him. A look of uncertainty crossed his features, like the sun trying to break through clouds. And then it happened. The girl who had first questioned Tara stepped forward, her voice quieter now, almost vulnerable. Maybe we're all just tired of pretending we're tough. It's exhausting. Jake's jaw relaxed, and he exchanged a quick glance with Tara. This was it. The crack in the armor. Yeah, one of the other boys chimed in, shaking his head. It's kinda lame, honestly. The group was hesitating, reevaluating everything they had cloaked themselves with. Tara felt a glimmer of hope spread within her. Could this night unfurl into something transformative? Then out of nowhere, a loud cacophony erupted from down the alley, shattering the newfound calm like glass. Tires squealed, and a muffled voice shouted angrily. Tara's heart sank at the sound. A police siren? The teenagers' faces paled, and the moment's tension turned into panic. We have to go, one of them shouted. They all turned to flee, the confrontation unraveling before Tara and Jake could catch their breath. Wait, Jake called, his eyes darting between the fleeing figures and the man they had just defended. Then he looked at Tara, uncertainty flaring. What do we do? Don't let them just run, she urged, desperate to keep them engaged. We can still reach them. But before she could act, one of the girls spun back, her eyes wide with fear. We don't want any trouble, just let it go. And with that, she disappeared into the darkness, the others trailing behind her, leaving the man still trembling against the wall. Tara felt a deep ache in her chest as she looked at the man. Are you okay? She asked softly, stepping toward him. He nodded, but uncertainty lined his face. I've had worse nights, he said, but there was a flicker of gratitude in his eyes. Now it was just the three of them, Tara, Jake, and the man. An eerie silence fell again. Tara turned to Jake, determination igniting in her gaze. This wasn't a total loss. We reached something tonight, didn't we? Jake opened his mouth, but before he could answer, the sound of distant laughter echoed around the corner, heavy and mocking. Tara felt her stomach drop. We need to follow them, she said, resoluteness flooding her veins. We can't let this go. Jake hesitated, then nodded slowly. Okay, let us do it. As they moved deeper into the darkness, the alarms in Tara's mind blared, questioning whether they truly had the courage to face whatever awaited them. But one thing was clear. They weren't turning back now. What awaited them in the shadows of the night? The alley grew darker as they ventured deeper, the laughter fading slowly but still echoing in Tara's mind. She could barely make out the shapes ahead, shadows weaving in and out of the light. Her heart pounded, adrenaline surging through her as if she were headed into battle, not just following a group of teenagers. Do you think they'll listen? Jake asked quietly, eyes scanning for any signs of movement. His nervousness surprised Tara. He had been so sure just moments ago. She couldn't afford to let uncertainty creep into their mission now. We have to hope so, she replied, more assured than she felt. They're searching for something, just like we are. Maybe they just don't know how to find it. The man lingered behind them, his steps hesitant, but Tara blinked back the fear that threatened to rise again. She turned to him, concern sharpening her focus. Are you going to be okay back here? She asked, genuine worry surfacing in her voice. He nodded again, but there was an intensity behind his eyes that she couldn't quite read. Just keep going, he urged, almost impelling them forward with an unseen force. They pressed on, navigating the alleyways with care. Every footfall felt amplified in the stillness, the tension thickening in the air. As they rounded a corner, they spotted the group huddled together. The light of a flickering street lamp illuminated their faces, revealing a blend of bravado and insecurity. Hey, Tara called, stepping forward. Wait up. The teenagers turned, faces taut with surprise that quickly morphed into annoyance. The sturdy boy with the cap glared at them. What do you want? Didn't we tell you to just leave? Just listen for a second, Jake said, raising his hands in a gesture of peace. We want to talk about what just happened. The girl who had first doubted their confrontation shifted her weight, eyes darting between Tara and Jake. Why would we? You just made things worse. We could have gotten into serious trouble. This is bigger than trouble, Tara insisted, her voice firm despite the tremor of doubt inside her. It's about all of us. You felt something back there, didn't you? The fear? The exhaustion? For a moment, everything stopped. She knew she was hitting a nerve. Where once their facades had been impenetrable, cracks started to show. The group shuffled slightly, their defensive postures faltering, confusion replacing anger. The cap-wearing boy crossed his arms defiantly, but didn't he look her in the eye? What do you want us to do? Just change? Start caring about who? That guy? He gestured dismissively toward the man trailing behind them. Yes, Tara said, the passion in her voice lighting a spark of resolve. He is here right now, trying to find his way just like we are. If we can learn to lift each other up, we can stop the cycle. Why hide behind the masks? A silence fell, heavy with contemplation. The girl from before blinked hard, then stepped closer to the group. You know, I'm tired of pretending I'm someone I'm not. It feels wrong. Jake seized the moment. You don't have to be someone else. Just be real. We're all struggling. Maybe it's time we talk about it instead of running. Tara smiled at him, gratitude flooding her heart, but the moment didn't last long. The faint sounds of footsteps approached, the distant laughter morphing into a chorus of raucous cheers, cutting through the air like a knife. They're coming, let us get out of here. One of the boys warned, a hint of panic rising again. No, Tara insisted, voice steady. If we run now, we'll just keep living like this. We all deserve better than that. The teens exchanged glances, vulnerability trickling into their expressions. It was a small shift but powerful. Then, out of nowhere, the man stepped forward, speaking with unexpected conviction. What they say is true. We can break this cycle together. Or go on being what they expect us to be. But before anyone could respond, chaos erupted as the raucous group rounded the corner. Tara's heart raced again. Now they had no choice. Would they confront this very challenge, embracing transformation together, or would they fall back into the shadows? The tension was palpable. Tara hesitated, heart pounding, but the resolve in those around her shone clearer than the moonlight above. Could they face the rising tide together? Or would this be yet another lost opportunity? Tara's breath hitched as the group of rowdy teenagers emerged into the alley, shouting and laughing like they owned the night. The shadows danced around them, casting an uneasy feeling over the air. This was the moment that could shift everything. And yet she felt the weight of uncertainty press heavily on her chest. Stay close, she whispered to Jake and the man, instinctively moving to shield them. She could sense the unease in the surrounding group, the tension coiling tightly like a snake ready to strike. What do we do? Jake's voice was barely audible, anxiety dripping through his tone. But Tara couldn't waver now. She needed to take the lead, and somehow rally these kids around something bigger than themselves. Hey, you all, Tara called out, stepping forward, her heart racing. We need to talk. The new group paused, eyes narrowed in confusion. The raucous laughter dimmed to whispers. Tara noticed how quickly they shifted from carefree to cautious, eyes darting from her to Jake to the man. The sturdy boy in the cap sneered, tightening his grip on a stick he had picked up, brandishing it like a weapon. What do you want, loser? Can't you see we're having a good time? He shot back, but his bravado trembled slightly. We were just like you, Tara found herself saying. Running away from things, lost and scared. She gestured at the man, desperation creeping in. But it doesn't have to be this way. The air crackled with anticipation as the laughter faded. The alley now felt smaller, the echoes of their insecurities more pronounced. Each confrontation had a weight, a history, and it was high time to shed that burden together. One of the girls stepped forward, her brave facade faltering. You think you understand? You don't know what it's like not for us. Her voice broke, emotion spilling over. Then let us in. Jake jumped in, his eyes sincere. Tell us what you're scared of. Let us break the silence. The fear in his voice resonated with the very core of every teenager present. Another boy, one short but wiry, looked between Tara and the newcomers, uncertainty written all over his face. What if we don't fit in anywhere? He whispered, almost to himself. What if we're just nothing? That struck a chord. Tara felt it too. They had all worn those labels, lived within those definitions that always felt too small. We're not here to judge, she said softly, stepping closer. We're all trying to find a place where we can be real. She's right, the man finally spoke, his voice surprising them all. I've spent my life searching for acceptance. I had to learn the hard way that when you stop hiding, when you get real, you open yourself to something incredible. The sturdy boy shuffled his feet, There was no anger left in him, just vulnerability. You think we can really change things? He asked, almost afraid to entertain the notion. Tara met his gaze, heart racing with hope. Yes. Together. If you let each other in, you can find strength in those bonds. No more masks. Just the truth. A rumble of uncertainty still lingered in the air, but Tara felt the tide turning. One by one, they began to whisper among themselves, an undercurrent of vulnerability weaving through the group. The laughter from earlier seemed distant now, replaced by something much more profound. But just as it seemed they might take the leap, the laughter returned, louder and more insistent from the street. Hey, what's taking you all so long? A voice called, half challenging, half cheerful. Tara's heart sank again as the group fell silent, torn between what was just starting to blossom and the loud world outside the alley. Will you take a chance? Tara shouted, urgency echoing in her voice. Step into the truth or retreat back to fear. The moment hung in balance, every teenager at a crossroads. Would they remain mired in their old ways, or challenge the tide about to crash upon them? She held her breath, waiting for a sign. What would they choose? Would bravery triumph over years of hiding? The moment lingered, thick with possibility. Tara's heart pounded, the silence more deafening than the laughter echoing from the street. Each face reflected a mixture of doubt and hope. They teetered on the edge, uncertain of what lay beyond their old lives. C'est mon, guys. A girl with frizzy hair finally shouted, breaking the spell. What will it be? Are we really gonna let them dictate our fun? Her voice was fierce, filled with a spark that seemed to light a fire in the others. The sturdy boy dropped his stick, and it clattered to the ground. Yeah, what do we have to lose? He said, shifting his weight nervously. You're right. We're tired of pretending. Tara felt the tide turn with that one brave admission. Exactly. We can create a space where we're not just shadows in the night, she said, her voice filled with passion. But we need each other. Will you let us help? One by one, the kids started to step forward, a collective pulse of acceptance thumping in the alley. Even the boy in the cap took a hesitant step, his gaze softening. As they moved closer, their tension seemed to dissolve like mist in the morning sun. The fractured group began to coalesce into something more powerful. Tara felt the warmth of connection radiating through the air, an undeniable shift towards something beautiful. Let us share our fears, our dreams, Jake suggested, stepping in alongside Tara, his voice steady. Let us commit to being real. You can be whoever you want here. One by one, the teenagers started sharing their stories. The wiry boy spoke of feeling invisible, of his struggle to fit in. The girl with frizzy hair opened up about feeling trapped and wishing for freedom. Tara listened with intent, her heart swelling at their raw honesty. The burden they all carried felt a little lighter with each spoken word. We don't have to face this world alone, Tara reminded them. We can be each other's strength. Hope filled the air, shimmering with potential. The shadows that once seemed daunting now felt like companions. Conversations flowed freely, laughter blending with shared stories, creating an atmosphere buzzing with authenticity. But just as joy began to fill the void, the laughter from the street grew louder, more insistent, filled with taunts and challenges. Tara turned to see a group of their peers approaching, eyes glinting with mischief. Hey, are you losers having a secret meeting or something? One of them shouted, his voice dripping with mockery. Tara's heart sank again, the euphoria dampened by the threat of confrontation. The inviting warmth from earlier grew chilly, the air thick with discomfort. Had they come so far only to have it ripped away? Stay strong, she whispered to Jake and the man, determination bubbling within her. We can't let them win. Not now. The newcomers paused at the entrance of the alley, their smirks daring the group to react. Tara faced them, every ounce of her resolve coalescing into a singular thought. She wouldn't back down. Why don't you come join us? She called out, surprising herself with the confidence in her voice. We're discussing how to stop hiding, how to be real. We could all use that. Gasps rippled through her new friends, skepticism creasing brows. But Tara held her ground, eyes locked on the approaching group. This was it, this was the moment that could forge a new destiny. Would the ones hiding in shadows find enough courage to step into the light? Would they choose connection over isolation when faced with their own doubts? As the voices from the street grew closer, anticipation hung heavy in the air. What would they choose? The air felt electric, charged with a mixture of anticipation and unease. As the taunting group advanced, Tara's heart raced. She felt the heat of their gaze as they assessed her, the pressure of their impending ridicule threatening to push her backward. Yet she stood firm, unwilling to retreat into the shadows. What do you mean join you? One of the newcomers, a tall girl with a wicked grin, sneered. You think we do want to be part of your little loser club? This is pathetic. Maybe it's pathetic to judge people without knowing them. Tara shot back, her voice rising above the dull roar of anxiety. The alley was quiet now, all eyes on her. We're just trying to be ourselves, to be real. The sturdy boy beside her stepped up, fists clenched. If you have something to say, say it. We're not afraid of you. His courage ignited a flame among the group around Tara. One by one, each friend exhaled, the collective breath morphing into a strength that formed a barrier against the jeers. They had shed their fears at least for this moment, and they wouldn't succumb to intimidation. The newcomer chuckled, but her confidence faltered slightly. You think you can just change everything? What a joke. Undeterred, Jake took a step forward. We're changing for ourselves. There's power in saying who we are, in sticking together. Why not join us? It's never too late to change. That caught the attention of the tall girl. Was there a hint of curiosity in her eyes? Tara noticed the small but significant shift, a crack in her bravado. Why do you even care? She challenged, though her voice wavered. Because Tara said, locking her gaze with the girl. We all want to belong. We've been given the same labels, the same rules, and we're sick of it. How about you? Don't you want something more? Around them, murmurs rose from the onlookers, the tide of uncertainty shifting. Tara could see her friends drawing strength from her words, hearts pumping with the newfound bond forged from honesty. In that moment, the street sounds faded. The other group, still hesitant, stood at the precipice of choice. What's holding you back? A boy from the back asked, voice cracking. Is it coolness? Because the truth is, none of us feel cool. Not really. Tara felt that sentiment resonate with everyone present. The tall girl blinked, her expression softening as she hesitated. Torn between the comfort of familiarity and the pull of possibility. A ripple of collective breath filled the alley. Right on the edge, Tara took a bold step closer. It doesn't have to be this way. We can disrupt this cycle. Together it can start here. The inviting warmth of the alley began to creep back, curling around their group like a protective embrace. For a fleeting moment, vulnerability felt like courage. The girl's bravado cracked fully now, her mask slipping. What if I don't know how to be real? Tara felt a rush of empathy. None of us do at first. You know what it takes? Just showing up. Anticipation hung in the air, thick and heavy like a summer storm, waiting for release. Would the tall girl step forward and find common ground? Could they all let go of their fears together? As she hesitated on the threshold, Tara felt a shared heartbeat echoing in the alley, raw, real, and ready to embrace change. Would they emerge from the shadows to create something beautiful? Would this moment hold the power to ignite transformation? The tension grew palpable, a question unspoken hanging between them all. Who would choose to step into the light? The moment stretched on, an eternity of uncertainty held in the balance. Tara's breath quickened, each second feeling like a heartbeat drumming in her ears. She could sense the weight of expectations, not just her own, but those of her friends, and even from the group standing across from them. Finally, the tall girl broke the silence. Oh, I might not know how to be real, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. But what if I don't even know where to start? The air seemed to thrum with the collective intake of breath. Tara stepped forward, feeling emboldened by the vulnerability laid bare. Start with us. It can be simple. Just show up like you did today, she said, extending her hand. We can figure it out together. The girl hesitated, eyes darting between Tara's outstretched hand and her own group. The laughter and jeers had faded, replaced by an unexpected silence. Tara could see fear battling with curiosity in the girl's eyes, a universal struggle echoing across the alley. What if they laugh at me again? The girl questioned, glancing nervously at her friends, now unsure about their earlier bravado. Tara felt the shift in the atmosphere. A tightness that threatened to pull them apart again. They might, Jake replied, stepping in to support. But that's their problem, not yours. It's not about them, it's about who you want to be. With each word, Tara held her breath, hoping the collective resolve would break through the wall the tall girl built around herself. You've had enough of the games, haven't you? Tara pushed gently but firmly. We're all tired of pretending. We can make a real connection, if you just take that first step. The tall girl's gaze lowered, and the group around her shifted uneasily. But Tara's friends were now standing taller, the knot of fear in the alley loosening. Look, said a soft voice from the back. It was a girl with a bright sunflower shirt, stepping timidly forward. I used to be just like you. I was scared of not fitting in. But it feels so much better to be ourselves. The truth hung in the air, heavy but cleansing. One by one, their eyes lit up with the understanding that this moment was pivotal. The tall girl took a deep breath, her shoulders slumping slightly as if she was shedding a weight. Fine, she said, uncertain but intrigued. But if this doesn't work, I'm out. Tara felt a spark of hope igniting in her chest. That's all we're asking. To just try. As the girl stepped forward, she turned back to her friends, who looked surprised and unsure yet unyielding. Then she turned back to Tara with a tentative smile. Okay, let us see what happens. Just like that, a chance was born amidst the uncertainty in the alley. A frayed thread of connection weaving its way between them all. With intermingled excitement and fear, Tara reciprocated the girl's hesitant smile. Could this truly be the start of something new? The murmur of approval rippled through the crowd as the once taunting group exchanged glances, weighed down with skepticism, yet now tinged with curiosity. Now that we're all here, what do we do next? Someone asked, eyes wide with that mixture of hope and trepidation. Tara paused, her heart beating louder than ever. We figure it out together, she whispered. Just show us who you are, and we'll show you who we can be. As they began to talk, the air around them felt lighter. But in the back of Tara's mind lingered a thought: what if their journey together led them to confront even deeper fears? What if the truth behind their struggles revealed connections they never dreamed of? And just as that thought settled in, she caught sight of the shadows shifting at the edge of the alley, a presence watching them from afar. What did it mean? Was it a harbinger of trouble, or an unexpected ally? Tara's heart raced again, no longer from fear, but from the thrill of potential. If they made it through this moment, what else awaited them? Tara stood tall, the buzzing energy of potential swirling around her, connecting her with Jake and the newly formed circle of teens. Together, they dared to dream of a future untethered from their past fears. Okay everyone, what's next? Tara asked, eager to push ahead. The group, now united in their new path, nodded slowly, their expressions a mix of curiosity and determination. One boy, shy yet bold, raised his hand hesitantly. What if we start here? Like a gathering? An open space where we can share our stories without judgment? Tara's heart soared. Yes. We can create a safe place to talk, share our fears and our dreams. A chance to truly connect. The idea ignited a spark, and she could see the agreement spreading, the energy of possibility igniting hope in their hearts. With everyone on board, they began brainstorming ideas, laughter dancing through the alley as they shared their dreams. Tara watched, enchanted, as barriers melted away. The sturdy boy stepped up, proposing to host a weekly meetup where they could share food and stories, bridging their worlds together. Another girl suggested they turn the alley into a community garden. The air buzzed with excitement. But just as they began talking logistics, Tara noticed the shadows lurking. A knot tightened in her stomach. The lingering presence she sensed before grew nearer, until the laughter ceased, swallowed by a looming tension. From the darkened corner stepped the unmistakable figure of a gang member, hardened and gruff, his eyes scanning the group with an intensity that froze everyone in place. The wild laughter evaporated, replaced by the ghost of fear tapping on their spines. What's going on here? He growled. The chill of uncertainty seeped through the air. Tara's heart raced. Would fear take hold and unravel everything they had created? Jake shifted closer to her, standing firm. Tara glanced around. Her friends stood shoulder to shoulder, determination glimmering in their eyes. This was their moment, and they couldn't back down now. We're just talking now, Jake spoke up, his voice steady. We've decided to create a space for us to be real. To stop hiding. To lift each other up. The gang member raised an eyebrow, disbelief etched on his face. And who said you could do that? This is our territory. That one statement seemed to ripple through the group, testing their newfound strength. But Tara couldn't afford to let fear tighten its grip. She stepped forward, raising her chin defiantly. You know what? We've faced fears much bigger than this, she said, her voice unwavering. We're tired of hiding. We're using this space to grow together. The tension thickened, and the gang member exchanged a look with his buddies, uncertainty flickering briefly in his eyes. Tara seized the moment. She stepped even closer, heart racing but determination fueling her. I understand fear. I've felt it too, she continued, voice brimming with sincerity. But we can choose to connect instead of tear each other apart. Life is too short for that. Something shifted in the air, an almost invisible thread woven between them all. The gang member hesitated, his bravado faltering slightly. You think you can just take over? Yes, Tara replied boldly. We're not trying to take anything from you. We want to build something meaningful, a community. It's not about gangs and fear. It's about human connection. A murmur spread through the group behind her, courage swelling in their hearts. They stood together, united in this newfound purpose, a vision for something greater. The gang member paused, weighing their words. Tara sensed the shift, a possible change of heart in this moment that could lead to something extraordinary, clash or connection. Suddenly, the girl next to Tara spoke up. We're scared too. But we didn't come to fight. We came to start something, together. The gang member shifted uncomfortably, thoughts spinning in his mind as he glanced around at the outstretched hands, the hopeful eyes staring back. Would he allow himself to join their circle, or cling to the old ways? I don't know, he grumbled, uncertainty swallowing his bravado. Someone from behind the gang member piped up. Someone who had been hidden in the shadows, stepping forward, a young woman. Her voice soft but resolute. You know what it's like, don't you? We've all faced our demons. Let us share our stories instead. The gang member looked at her, the winds of change blowing through the alley. Tara watched, breathless, as a flicker of recognition crossed his face. He glanced back at the group, and for a moment, she thought she saw a glimmer of hope emerge from the darkness that surrounded him. Fine, he relented slowly, an effort to keep his tough exterior. You get one chance. But if any trouble arises, no trouble, Tara promised firmly. Just real connection. As conversations flowed, barriers built over years of silence began to dissolve. The gang member started to share fragments of his own story, moments of hardship and fear that propelled him into a life he never wanted beneath the gang's facade. Faces softened in understanding. The alley transformed from a dark place of shadows to a vibrant gathering where everyone's stories intertwined and hopes blossomed. The laughter returned anew, this time infused with the authenticity of connection. Tara glanced around, heart swelling with pride. Faces alight with possibility pressed against one another. They were forging a community right here, stronger than their fears. Are you ready to embark on this journey with us? Jake asked the gang member, a gesture of continued vulnerability. The gang member nodded, slowly shifting toward the circle, taking a firm step into the light. All right, let's see what this is really about. And just like that, the tension shattered, a new beginning delivered through the power of connection. Dreams merging into reality. As the evening wore on, Tara felt the weight of hope settle over her. A warm blanket wrapped around her heart. They had transcended their fears together. They had turned shadows into strength. Maybe that was what it was all about, reaching out, embracing the unknown, lighting up the darkness with their shared humanity. And as they laughed and connected, she realized they were no longer just a bunch of lost kids. They had become a family, united in their shared journey toward a brighter future. And in that moment, surrounded by newfound friends, Tara felt the incredibly reassuring light of hope shining brighter than ever before. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support the storytelling you love. Comment below and share how you felt about this transformation. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible journey of change. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.